Now I'm going to show you some more famous checkmate patterns, starting with Anastasia's mate. This mate even has a story attached. The name comes from Heinz's novel Anastasia and Chess, written in 1803, in which this mate is recorded. So have a look at this position. Would you be able to find out how white can checkmate in 3 moves? Okay, let's start with the most logical move, knight e7 check, forcing the black king to h8. What can white do now? Well, there is a beautiful queen sacrifice on h7, checking the king. The black king doesn't have a choice but to capture the queen. And I'm sure you can all see the coming checkmate in one move now by the rook. Rook h6 checkmate. So it's similar to the back rank checkmate, where the king is checkmated on the back rank, but this time the king is on the side, on the h file. So here it is. This is the Anastasia checkmate pattern. Here we have another famous checkmate pattern. It's called Damiano's mate. If we have a look at this position, it looks even, but actually there is a forced checkmate in 3 for white. Can you find this checkmate in 3? Alright, so here it is. The first move for white is rook h8, forcing the black king to capture the rook on h8. Then comes check on h1. The black king doesn't have a choice but to go back to g8. Now another rook sacrifice. Why is white doing this? Just to be able to say check with the queen? Is it worth it? Well, obviously it is, because here it comes checkmate. So this is what we call Damiano's mate pattern. Let's see this all over again. Check. Check with the other rook. Sacrificing the other rook on h8 again. Now white brings the queen on h1, and black cannot prevent the checkmate on h7. So this one was called Damiano's mate. Now I'm going to show you another famous checkmate pattern. It's called Philidor's mate. So let's see, in this position it looks like black have some advantage. But as you can probably guess, white can easily win if they know this Philidor's mate pattern. So this is how it starts. Knight f7 check. Black doesn't have a choice but to move the king to g8. And here comes the beautiful move knight h6, which is double check. What can black do? Obviously they shouldn't move the king to f8, because they're gonna get checkmated on the next move. Queen f7 is checkmate. What they need to do is move the king back to h8. So how can white win from this position now? Well, here comes a beautiful queen sacrifice, forcing black to capture the queen with the rook. That's their only choice. And here it comes a smothered mate. So this is a smothered mate named after Philidor. So let's see this all over again. Starts with knight f7 check, knight h6 double check, and now white needs to sacrifice the queen on g8, forcing the rook to capture the queen, and then black gets checkmated. So here it is, Philidor's mate. We can use this pattern in positions like this one, for example. In this position, white looks hopeless again. But if it's white's turn, they can use this Philidor's mate pattern to easily win the game. Starting with knight f7 check, king g8, knight h6 double check. Obviously, the black king shouldn't move to f8 because he gets checkmated by the queen on f7. The only good choice for the black king is to move back to h8. And now white can sacrifice their queen on g8. And here it comes, the smothered mate named after Philidor. So let's see this all over again. Check, double check, queen sacrifice on g8, and checkmate. This was Philidor's mate.